What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by the man with the picks, Pez himself. What's going on, Pez? How are you?
Jeff, I was thinking about you driving to the studio I'm in right now, my house. Pitts, about a month ago, Pearl Jam played a live show in Pittsburgh, and I got to thinking to myself, in our day when we were younger men, that was a jock jam, right? This was music that pumped you up. I go back to my early '90s high school days. It was Metallica. I don't know what these kids are listening to now, Jeff. I don't know. I don't know what the direction of music is. That's probably a different podcast, but sports remain the same. Gambling remains the same, Jeff. And I think gambling's getting back to prehistoric roots more and more the more I watch this stuff.
Well, speaking of the music stuff, before we go into the sports talk, I said to my wife the other day, I was in college in the early 2000s, and there were several bands that were very popular, and there was like that. It wasn't grunge rock. It was like poppy, but rock. And you had bands like Yellow Card, and even Third Eye Blind was still hanging around, and Matchbox 20. And I was like, where are the rock bands anymore? Like, who's doing Kings of Leon? They're kind of obscure anymore. Yellow Card's gone. Like all these bands. And I asked my kids, I'm like, who are the rock bands now? Give me a name. Like, I don't know. Imagine Dragons, not a rock band. Go again. I don't know, Pez. Who's playing rock music now?
Jeff, I'm raising a '80s child. He's 12. He's got long hair. He looks like somebody out of Point Break, Central Casting. He's got a Paul Reed Smith. It's his fourth guitar. He plays acoustic, electric. He's a finger picker, which guitar guys know. I don't
Yes.
know, but
I play the
I
guitar. I know exactly what you're talking about.
had the big sleepover this weekend with 4 or 5 of them. I said, "What are you guys listening to?" Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam. Do you know REM? I'm like, I feel bad. They don't have music, Jeff. And then I watched this thing on Netflix, this Astroworld about this Travis Scott guy and crushing deaths. And what happened to music, Jeff? We got to get we got to get the FFS and legal team. I know I bring this up a lot, Jeff. We got to get them onto the music industry. Sure, you're not making as much money now that it's streaming, but let's get back to producing some good music, right? I mean, what are we waiting on here?
I don't know, but it is weird. But hey, he could be listening to worse music. We'll put it that way.
That's
So
true.
let's talk about some stuff. The world of golf continued to revolve as the U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club is a wrap. J.J. Spaun wins his second time in his career. He won the Valero, I think, in 2023. He was the runner-up at the Players' Championship this year, but wins his first major in dramatic fashion, a two-stroke victory. The great birdie putt on 18 to seal the deal. Pez, what were your takeaways from the U.S. Open?
Well, I mean, first off, Jeff, our original picks, aside from Scheffler, were garbage. I think everybody's were. So, as we always say, gambling
I
on golf, it ain't really
I
gambling.
had some hits.
Okay, well, you did, but from Pez's picks, we're trying to shoot fish in a barrel here a little bit, and it's not as
Yeah.
easy as fish in a barrel. But I think at the end of the day, Scotty Scheffler blew the tournament, and I think that's a story that has gone quiet. I just saw today, I believe it was Sports Illustrated, a competitor of ours, but I'll give him a little props here, Jeff. SI, I've been around a little bit. I'll give him a little props here. Scotty Scheffler's old boogaboo, his kind of old Achilles heel, came back. He should have won this tournament. I watched the whole thing Sunday, Jeff. We put out a pick. He was plus 7,000. I think we put him out. So, I mean, why wouldn't you take Scotty? He was 7 back. He lipped out 4 putts I saw. He missed a 1-footer. So I think Scheffler posts even or 1 under. I think this guy wins this tournament. We look at this leaderboard, very strange leaderboard. Obviously, what these guys did is not traditionally what you do to win golf tournaments, right? I mean, when you look at the names, Ortiz, Young, Spawn, McIntyre, a Scottish guy, you go down the list, and then you get to Scheffler and Rahm, who I think are guys that have control of the club face and can put the ball where they want. But I don't know what happened with this tournament. I'm waiting for analytics to kick in. Whatever they did, it was better than the best players in the world usually do. And Scheffler, I think, brings up a new story. I mean, he melted down. He yells at his coach, and not that I'm taking anything from J.J. Spaun. I mean, J.J. Spawn's story. I told somebody at work this week. I This is the greatest sports upset maybe in history, right? This guy was a plus 12,000, Jeff. If we put $10 on him, we walk away with $1,200. So I love the way it ended. I loved everything about it. I love the Sam Burns meltdown. What a country club sissy complaining about staying in a little water. I mean, how many times was he going to swipe that water? You get two guys come in. You can't be leading the U.S. Open and ask for a second opinion on a ruling that me and you, anybody that plays golf, you play the rain. I mean, you're still hitting the ball. And at the end of the day, these other pros are whining for him. I loved everything about this tournament. I don't know, Jeff, Wyndham Clark, are you familiar with this story? That
Oh my gosh, yeah. And destroyed the lockers?
Another spoiled psycho, country club baby. So I think, blue-collar regular golfers won this tournament, and I love that. I could watch that all day.
I love what Adam Scott said after the Sunday round, and he played awful down the stretch. He said, look, should we have been out? Should we have been playing? That's not my decision. Everyone had to play in it. I didn't play well enough. And I was like, you know what? Good for you, Adam Scott. 44 years old, still hanging with the young guys. He gets it. Yeah, there's probably a lot of those guys that thought, man, we shouldn't be out here. They need to push it back, whatever. And, hey, may the best man win. I will say this. I think I agree with you 100%. Scotty Scheffler is going to look back in his career, and he's going to say, this is one that got away.
Absolutely.
This is a major championship that if I could just drive the ball a little bit better, if I could make some freaking putts. He was missing putts from under 6 feet. Like, insane how horrible he putted, and yet he was still in the mix.
It sure was.
Still in the mix.
I mean, he probably hit the ball better on Sunday than anybody out there. I mean, I've never heard of a major winner other than J.J. Spaun that put up a 40 on the front nine, Jeff. This guy put up a 40. I mean, that's something that maybe with a little luck, not that course, but maybe some beauty around here, I get a 40 and ends up winning the U.S. Open. I think a lot of those guys, and it's part of the reason we put this play out Sunday morning, they were choking, right? I mean, you had the U.S. Open in your vision. You had a bunch of, top players that weren't even on the board. But when we look at, Rahm puts up a 67, Scheffler 70, could have easily had a 65. You go to Ortiz or McIntyre puts up a 68. I think the scores were there. And of course, winning a major is like winning the Super Bowl. You're going to be tense. You're not going to have your best game. I have never seen a tougher finish than J.J. Spaun. To put up a 40 and to come back and win that tournament has got to go down as one of the greatest feats in golf. We might never hear J.J. Spaun's name again. This isn't a traditional this guy, I love him, Jeff, but he's not hitting the weight room too much, right? This guy's got a little round mound to him. And I love everything about the story. I love that they played in the weather. I love that, I think we talked about it last week. We'd be lucky to have 5 or less guys under par. He finishes under par with a 64-foot putt. Then I got into this story yesterday. There's some Hollywood executive created a putter company. I don't know if you're following this.
Oh, the lab putters?
I don't even know what the hell that is, Jeff, but it looked like some sort of hieroglyphic Egyptian thing.
Oh, they're red hot on the golf market right now, the lab putters.
JJ and Adam Scott, and this guy claims this is it. This is why they won, and I don't know. I'm using an Answer, Jeff, from probably 19. A Ping Answer. Hey. I love that putter just because it's gold. I think it makes me look cool. I don't make any putts with it, but I love that thing.
Well, I'll say this about J.J. Spaun, and I want to read off the plays that I had that hit this past week because I had 3 plus 400 plays hit for me this weekend. But still, J.J. Spaun was making putts all week. So people that watched from Thursday to Sunday, he was always hanging around. He was up and down, and he got some really bad breaks, balls going in divots and stuff like that. What was worse than on Sunday when his ball hits the pin and ricochets back 50 yards? He was getting no help whatsoever. What a bounce back. What a great story for J.J. Spaun. But let me read you this off. I got to pat myself on the back a little bit. So our boy Ben Griffin, right? I had him top 10 plus 400. He finishes tied for 10th. That's a winning bet. So
Fantastic.
We got it. I had Sam Burns top 20. The dude finishes tied for 7th. Another plus 400 play. That checks. And then the one bet that I've been loving the most is the margin of victory. You can bet on how many strokes the winner has.
Great.
JJ Spawn nailing the birdie on 18 secured my 2-stroke win for plus 400 odds.
Unbelievable. I mean, this is gambling, Jeff. This
It
is
is.
gambling. I was talking about it with our resident expert on Bob Sacamano,
Yeah.
rat hats and whatever it takes. And gambling at this point, the margins are so slim that, we're recording. We hit game 5 in the NBA championship. Oklahoma City appeared to blow out Indiana. I mean, the game was over in quarter 1. Indiana has 7 turnovers. Halliburton comes up lame. The guy's got some he couldn't score, and they only covered by 1 bucket, Jeff. One bucket, and I'm watching that thing. I'm yelling in the middle of the night. My wife went to bed 2 hours ago. She goes, I thought it was over. Gambling, it's never over, right? I mean, gambling. They say it's addictive. I don't know if that's true or not, Jeff, but it's amazing how tight these margins are. But there's nobody that had J.J. Spawn winning this thing. Plus 12,000. No. Adam Scott plus 15,000. I think he threw the tournament away a little bit too. I don't know. I'd like to rewatch this tournament. I don't know what these guys did. I don't know if it's they weren't hitting it as far as the big guys, or maybe they have a different kind of game look, a way of looking at a hole. But the greatest golfers in the world were embarrassed. They were horrible. They destroyed the locker room. Justin Thomas walked away. Spieth. We had my man. What's his name? The old commentator Jeff. It burned DeChambeau.
Chambly. I know it was Johnny Miller.
Johnny Miller comes back. I didn't even know he's still alive, Jeff. He comes back to burn Shambo. It says you can watch it from the weekend, right? So, I have an opinion that I've seen Tiger Woods do this a couple of times to win a major without using a driver. I mean, it was his worst club. I think one of these top guys could have won this major easily without using driver on 90% of the holes. You hit that fairway, you were in business. They were not hard approach shots, right? I mean, you downhill, they weren't very far. You could have plotted your way around. I think Tiger Woods 15 years ago, he wins this thing with a 2-iron, a 1-iron, whatever weird club he was using. We did some research after our talk last week. Tiger Woods, half of his major wins, he was 2-1 or better. Half of those wins, Jeff, he was minus 250 to win the 2008 Masters. So I think analytics is great. I mean, we use a lot of numbers in our system, but at the end of the day, you got to have feel. And I think analytics ruined the top golfers. They did what analytics said. You pound that ball down there, you hoof it out of the rough. And I think Oakmont, USGA knew this is what everybody's style is playing. And I think that was a losing style. I wonder if it changes the game a little bit going forward. I would love to see more irons off the tee and a little more creative shot making.
I get that. I do. I think ultimately a lot of these players, because really Oakmont came in, it's just over 7,300 yards. So not like a freakishly long course for PGA standards.
I played that this weekend. I mean, I shot a 96, Jeff, so I'm proud of that thing.
You did not play Oakmont. Let me clarify for the listeners out there. He did not play Oakmont Country Club and shoot a 96. It was some course in New Jersey. But still, I just think that, Scotty, you could be 5 yards off the fairway and you are dead. And if you look at Scotty Scheffler's season so far, even the PGA Championship, which he won, he was struggling with the driver. And then you throw in the rough is so long that sometimes you have to lay up. You can't get to the green. You have to make putts. And that's not Scotty's MO. He's not draining those JJ Spawn 60 plus footers. And so that's where he got himself in trouble. So,
I hope we see more majors like this, more U.S. Opens like this. I think it opens the door to a more diverse field. And we're not going to have guys bombing 350-yard drives and just wedging everything onto the green. That style of golf is boring to me. And I don't think you need to change the equipment. I think you need to change the course a little bit. And Oakmont did that. And this is what it should be. It should be hard. I was watching with the 6-string JMU punter from 25 years ago. They're hitting out of the traps. They're hitting. I love the church pews where the ball sits a foot in front of that pew, the mound of rough and those weeds. I hit that shot all the time, Jeff. I think I'm better at hitting that shot than Scheffler and these guys. I know that shot. So you don't see them in these positions, and I think this, I think they got it right. I think USGA got it right. It was exciting. I love they kept play going. You got to play, right? I would play. If I paid $500 to play Oakmont or whatever they might charge me, I'm playing through the rain. I'm sitting in that shed and watching a little lightning go by, and I'm not leaving, right? I'm playing.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I loved everything about it.
All right, well, we'll leave golf. We'll come back and talk a little bit about the Travelers Championship at the end of the show. Let's talk about baseball. You want to talk some strategy. What's the current baseball strategy for you?
So, we've been getting some questions on this, Jeff, and obviously at Pez's Picks, we've been around this gambling a long time. I would love to take the Yankees when they're laying 400 to win 100. They're going to win most of those games, probably 8 or 9 out of 10. I recall a time when Derek Jeter was still playing. You had Mariano Rivera, you had Clemens. It would be you're laying 1,200 to win 100. And Jeff, I sadly I laid those bets, right? I'd be in July. My buddies and I'd be in some sort of beach apartment, getting out of the water, surfing or volleyball, whatever the hell we're doing. And then we're sitting there. We lose $1,200, Jeff. We're toast for the summer. I got to get a job then. I mean, we're beach bums. So I've been there. Having learned these lessons, our system, in terms of one of the big things in our system, is to not place those bets. We're not going to recommend to people to lay $400 to $800 to win $100 on a June, July, August baseball game. That means nothing. We're just not going to do it. So, give me the criticism if you want. You can go and find a front runner. That's easy. You don't need anybody to tell you to take the biggest odds and take the biggest favorite to make plays every day. If you are a baseball handicapper, you're a baseball investor, wager, whatever you want to be, you have to look for value. So what we look for are close to even odds or when we're getting money. And I love Sunday. I love the Yankees. I looked everything about it. I looked at the line last, Jeff. I judged the pitchers, and we look at the line. So Sunday we had New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox. Yankees are laying about 195. And you're getting about 155 for taking the Red Sox. And I decided to myself, way too much money. Red Sox win 2-0. You look at Colorado, Atlanta. Colorado, one of the worst teams in baseball, going to go down maybe one of the worst teams ever. 13 wins on the season going in. They enter the game at Atlanta. They're a plus 280. Atlanta's a minus 350. And Colorado wins 10-1. So if you place a wager on a huge favorite like that, and you lose $400 to win 100, you got to win four more games to catch up to even, right? You got to get even odds, and you got to pick these games to win this. So at the end of the day, we're not betting the White Sox. We're not betting underdogs because we want to, because we think that that's most likely going to happen. We're doing a conservative system where we're preserving our funds through the whole summer. And I think at the end of the day, that's how you have to go into gambling. Going back to poker, you're not going to risk going all in on a flush when a guy's representing possibly having a full house or better. So it's the same kind of thinking that I've learned throughout my life of losing a lot of money, Jeff. I'm okay to say this. I've lost a ton of money gambling, and I made a lot more money when I was on the other side taking these calls. And through poker, you kind of analyze what you're doing. Your odds should always be in your favor. What you're putting at risk, how much you're putting at exposure, should always be something that's in control, and not you're not putting yourself out too much. I'm not gonna. If you told me you're gonna take 4-1 odds, and if you win, you're gonna win $4,000, maybe I'll take it. But to bet 400 to win 100, I think is a dumb bet any time of the day, unless you're locked up in Tijuana somewhere. You need to get some bail money. Then you load up on the Yankees, but. We are looking for value. We're recording today on Tuesday. We got some traveling to do. Pez's Picks. Thank you to the CEO of FFSN sending us back up into the mountains. We're going to do a little soul searching, Jeff. Take a little vision quest to figure out this baseball betting for the rest of the summer. But we're taking the Mets tonight. It's Mets Atlanta Tuesday night. We're taking the Mets. We've got Peterson against Schwellenbach, two stud pitchers. When you punch the numbers, the Mets are a way better team, way better hitting. And we're getting the Mets at plus 120. So I can't explain to you why. There's probably a reason. But we are taking the Mets, this kind of value bet that we're looking at. And, at this point, we're above 500. We're coming in about 58% right now on baseball. I believe we're 13-10, and in NBA we're coming in at 19-11. We're smoking hot on that thing, and that's way easier to find value in any sport than baseball. Baseball, you got to be careful. Exposure can burn you for a whole season.
I do want to bring your attention to your social media handles. You have mentioned when you put the plays out, that's on Instagram and on Twitter at Pez's Picks, Pezspicks. And I just want to say something out there. You know, I follow Pez's page and all his posts that he does. There's a lot of haters out there, man. And when you get a pick right, it is crickets.
Of course.
And then all of a sudden you get one wrong, and all these freaking chumps come out. What a stupid pick. I'm fading you, Pez. Like, come on. Come on, guys. And gals, don't know who's out there, but still, come on. Give him some props if he gets one right, and you're going to get one wrong from time to time as well. I don't know.
Jeff, we've been working together about a year and a half at this thing, a little longer. We have not had a losing season in any sport.
That's true.
And you know, we stand by that. I've got some old colleagues that you know, they're following us too. They're like, Jesus, why weren't you doing this in the old days? Well, I think you learn from pain, right? You learn from pain. I don't think Sam Burns is ever going to ask for a double ruling when he's leading the U.S. Open with 4 or 5 holes to go, right? You learn from pain. And you know, we're here for the people, Jeff. We're not here to make money for FanDuel, DraftKings, or anybody that. We're here to make money for the people, and you know, it's conservative. And if you can handle that and you can stick with it, we're going to make you money. I mean, that's the name of the game here, and that's what we stand with.
All I want to say is, would it hurt people to say, great pick, Pez, thanks, once in a while? Like, it won't hurt you to do that. Come on, people, lighten up a little bit.
Jeff, in the gambling world, you don't expect that. In the gambling world, you walk away with your money quietly because you don't want to get beat up either, right? Most people lose. So when you're winning, you know to keep hush, and you walk over and you cash in and you go out to dinner, you know?
All right, fair enough. Now let's talk NBA Finals. The NBA and the NHL, you said it this morning. We were texting each other. It's almost July, and we're still talking about this. Like, this is ridiculous. They've got to do something. They've got to do something to get these seasons done. Cut the regular season down. Do something. We're almost summer, and we're still talking about hockey, ice hockey, mind you, and the NBA. Any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, like we're pumping ourselves a little bit today. We're 19-11 NBA playoffs, and that's a number that I'm proud of, Jeff. We're all proud of here. All the help we get. We're 3-1 on the NBA Finals, which I think has been kind of a hard thing to handicap. Big win Sunday night or Monday night with Oklahoma City, smoking Indiana. Having said that, it came down to the last bucket, right? I mean, they ended up winning by 11. We're laying 9.5. So a very difficult thing. Going forward, I think it's going to be over. I mean, we're looking at Thursday now. I think Oklahoma City has to finish this thing. Halliburton is just done. I think Indiana is out of gas, and Oklahoma City seems to be peaking at this point. So probably we're taking the Thunder, laying 6 on the road. That's probably the direction we're going. I think this thing's done. But I agree. I don't know. I remember if it got to June, we were like, wow, what a great NBA season. It got that far. I think Memorial Day, this thing should end. But who are we? They must be making money, Jeff. Somebody's
I'm
making
sure
money.
they are. I'm sure they're making money. And speaking of making money, no one makes more money than the NFL. You've got 2 more total plays. You're diving into the AFC North again. You talked about the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers last week. Who else are you playing there in the AFC North? What do you got?
Well, Jeff, we're feeling way, way better about this Steelers play. I read it on 2 anonymous sources, NFL executives, talked to some reporters. Aaron Rodgers has more zip on the ball than he's had the last 2 years, aside from mobility, which everyone knows. I mean, this guy's old. It's not going to be Michael Vick out there, but his ball velocity, from what I'm seeing, and I don't think these guys are blowing smoke, that ball is humming out of his hand. I like what I'm hearing out of Pittsburgh's camp. Arthur Smith, we didn't get DK and Aaron Rodgers to run the ball. So I more and more, I love 8.5 over Steelers. That was our top play. I love it, Jeff. I don't know why we're not betting the house on it. I think we should. Moving on here. We're going to catch some flack. You're going to like this, though, Jeff. Baltimore Ravens. We are going to take the under 11.5 wins at -110. So to take the under, you're basically reading the tea leaves here. The books don't think they get to 12 wins. I hate to do this to a team, but this is what happens. Lamar, I think at some point is going to have to get injured. I think Derrick Henry We had a whole season of him fresh last year. This guy's got an injury bug. I think Baltimore takes a step back. I'm not saying that they can't win the Super Bowl. They can. But I think 12 wins for them is going to be a stretch. I've got them at 9 or 10. We're taking under 11.5, minus 110, Baltimore Ravens. I think this is it. This is a year where things fall apart for Baltimore. Their receiving core still terrible.
Yes.
They didn't improve on that. You got a guy coming back for injury that's never really done much. You got two guys that are taking a lot of shots over the years. I think at the end of the day, under 11.5 wins, minus 110, we're all over that for Baltimore. And I still love Lamar. I still think he's great, and I think they have a chance for a Super Bowl. But I'm looking at them 9 or 10 wins, and that's where we're at with Baltimore.
I can't trust a man, and this is Lamar Jackson I'm referring to. I can't trust a man who has collectively turned down almost $1 million in his career to just show up and work out.
I mean, what's your job, right?
It's over $750,000 he has left at the table because he doesn't want to show up and just go through OTAs and go through the motions. And I'm like, how do you trust a guy like that? I can't do it.
When game planning gets tougher as the year goes on, and Lamar's whole career, when we get to the playoffs, he doesn't look prepared. I mean, his numbers go down. He looks confused, and I think this is the year that the whole thing blows up. I wouldn't be shocked, Jeff, if Lamar's not there next year. I wouldn't be shocked.
Wow,
I wouldn't be.
That's a bold prediction. Let's talk a little bit before we call it a show. The Travelers Championship signature event on the PGA Tour coming up this weekend. Rory is in the field, Pez. Scotty is in the field. Scotty, according to what I found today, Scotty's plus 280 odds on favorite to win. Rory plus 1,200. That's shocker, but he's been playing like crap. Colin Morikawa and Xander Schauffele plus 1,600. Ludwig Oberg plus 2,200 rounds out the top five. Who do you like?
Keegan Bradley, I believe, plus 4,000. Jeff, he's going home. I'm going to be up there this weekend. Maybe I'll shoot over. It's the richer side of New England up there in Connecticut. I'm a Vermont guy, so we don't have that kind of money, but I might shoot over. Keegan Bradley, I know he's played this course. I think his game was great last week, but like everybody, he ended up shooting 10, 12 over, whatever it was. But Keegan Bradley plus 4,000. Rory McIlroy, I don't know when we're going to ever bet him again, Jeff. This guy has melted down. What is wrong with him? He finally gets what he wants. He's more pouty and more meltdown than he was before he won the Grand Slam. What is going on with this guy?
I don't know. I mean, he busted up the tee marker. He threw clubs.
Yeah.
Did you see the one where he threw it against his bag and it bounced back and he actually caught it? It turned into like the most I'm a pouty baby thing too. That was actually pretty cool in the moment of a second.
This guy's knocking on the door to being a billionaire and he's throwing clubs around. He won't talk to the media. What's going on with this thing? Without the media, you're not out there, buddy, right? At the end of the day, the media pays your bills. So we're selling him. Scheffler, I got to see him make some putts before we wager on him again. I hate to say it, but
well, listen to this. This TPC River Highlands, par 70, 6,844 yards, Pez. We're talking about 7,300 not being long, a sub 7,000. This is going to be a birdie fest. These guys that played Oakmont are going to feel like they are pitting at a driving range. And so I like Scotty at plus 280. I also like Victor Hovland at plus 3,000. That guy showed me something on Sunday. He was hanging around, and that's a really tough track. So Victor Hovland at plus 3,000, I'll take it.
I know this course, it's kind of a plotter's course. You know, I think it's a little longer playing in terms of yardage. There's places you got to hit the ball. Of course, Scheffler should win, right? He should.
Right.
But, that putting on Sunday, that said something to me. And his meltdown, too. They're all melting down. This guy goes after his coach. I mean, some old man, he's screaming out on the range.
He wasn't going after his coach. He was upset at himself.
What's going on there, right?
I don't know.
Smashing lockers. Did you know, Jeff, they get fined for smashing those lockers? Ian Poulter came out today and discussed he has done that as well. They get major fines for breaking those lockers. So Wyndham Clark, maybe this guy needs a suspension. You know, throws the club, almost kills a volunteer, smashing lockers. What? Get on your private jet, open up a bottle of Chambly, and go and enjoy yourself, right? What are you kicking lockers for? I mean, give me a break. It's not like he was even close. It's not like
I know.
It's not like like Burns did. This guy was 20 shots behind. So I'm selling Wyndham Clark. We're never betting him, Jeff. That's not a guy we take on the Pez's picks team.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, Pez, it's been a good show. Why don't you give us your final thoughts here?
Let's enjoy ourselves, Jeff. Let's enjoy the remainder of NBA. Oklahoma City, ride that out. We're taking OK City -6. We're gonna put that out there right now. We're putting it out today.
Okay. Love it. Pez, enjoy your trip up north, man. We'll talk next week.
Later.
See ya.